What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with the final Bridges reaction. And indeed, we're going to listen to a tune that was not on either of their albums, whether released in 1980 or retrospectively in 2018. I won't spoil it if people don't know this track, but I am aware this is a tune that you may recognize melodically, so it's called Miss Eerie here, which is to say, I'm very intrigued by the title, especially as it relates to later formulations of this tune. Miss Eerie, the way it's written, is as an unmarried woman, a person who is perhaps a young person. Eerie is a great lake on the border between the United States and Canada. It's also a town in Indiana. I don't know if either of those geographical references will be relevant, but I do know a bit about what this tune might sound like, though my understanding is that it will be notably distinct from the tune that you're perhaps going to be aware of once it starts. So let's hear it. This is Bridges' Miss Eerie, a non-album track. Incredible. So yeah, for those who don't have the home game, so to speak, that was clearly an early rendition of what became eventually Lesson 1 and then later on Take On Me, which still went through a number of iterations. It is crazy to hear it with the guitar leading the melody for most of the track, even though you can hear it on the keyboard, especially at a couple moments. Ultimately, it comes across very differently. It still has the Bridges a bit crazy, a bit unpredictable and zany feel. It feels less tidy and coherent overall compared to even maybe a couple of the demo versions of Take On Me, certainly compared to the final iteration of it that was released on Hunting High and Low. But yeah, obviously different lyrics as well. Sweet Misery, that phrase really standing out, which I don't know if masochistic is the right word, but misery, generally speaking, is not described as being sweet. So if you're expressing that sentiment, you're in a place where you've begun to accept it and almost welcome the experience, or perhaps there's an irony to that. But yeah, lyrically and sonically very different and more in a rock vein. So yeah, it's, perhaps most interesting in the legacy of a-ha's most famous hit, even if in its own right it's an interesting tune, and as I said, fitting very much into their shifting, tempo changing, and in some ways unpredictable sonic character that is Bridges. So yeah, a fitting end and a perfect transition to Aha as it would turn out in the end. And yeah, thank you once again to Sofia for sharing this. Thank you to all the people who've commented on Bridges, including those who perhaps did not know the catalog. Certainly not the second record, which I'm aware there were some people who had heard the first one but not the second one because it came out officially much, much later. So yeah, a fascinating pre-chapter, a prologue to what would become one of the most famous synth-pop groups. Very excited to return again to the tandem of Aha that we've been going through recently, which is the Scoundrel Day demos mixed with the 1994 live performance in Oslo. So keep up with that. Let me know what you think of this, and I will see you then.
Peace.